The Syrian army has raised the national flag in the main square of the border town of Yabrud after seizing control of the last major stronghold of insurgents. The army's conquer comes after days of operations and months of planning. Syrian troops also had the backing of fighters from the Lebanese Hezbollah movement. The takeover of Yabrud will cut militant supply lines. The advance is considered a major gain for the Syrian army, which has been engaged in a fierce war against foreign-backed insurgents for 3 years. Observers say the takeover of Yabrud will affect the situation not only in Syria, but also in Lebanon and the occupied Palestinian territories. Well, to get the latest from Yabrud itself, we're now joined by Ali Risk, Press TV's correspondent, who is in the liberated town, and he's joining us live now. Ali, tell us, what is the latest situation in that liberated town?
Well, basically, as we were saying before, the Syrian army has raised the flag, as you said. The army is in control. There is, from time to time, we do hear, for example, some shells or some fires being shot, clearing out the area, just making sure it's been completely taken over. But we can say, as I said in the previous interviews, Yabrud has fallen, is in the control of the Syrian army, and also with some Hezbollah fighters, or with Hezbollah's participation in the fight. Now, if you just allow me here to show you, give you an idea about the battle which took place, the mountains which you can see behind me. Now I'm going to show you these mountains. These mountains actually that's where the fighting began. Hezbollah fighters, along with the Syrian army, were on these very same mountains, which I'm showing you right now, launching their attack from there. That's where they were able to defeat the first line of defense of the armed opposition groups. So using the military advantage, which is something well known militarily, using the advantage of having, an upper look or a higher view, coming in, attacking from above higher position. That strategy was used by the Syrian army along with Hezbollah. That's how the confrontation began, after the planning which we spoke about before. And after, as I said, following the defeat of the first line of defense, it was relatively easy for the Syrian army along with Hezbollah to come in and take control of the city, especially after the Syrian army also used the air raid, was able to assassinate several of the senior commanders of the armed opposition groups. That is in general the strategy which was employed, using the higher positions, not going in, not invading directly, using air bombardment, attacking from the higher locations, higher strategic positions, before closing in, and hence achieving this victory. Of course, this confrontation will be followed probably by another confrontation, which is just behind the hills, which I showed you before, the Fleta area behind the mountains, which I had showed you. But nobody is expecting that to be a very difficult battle, because Yabrud, once again, we emphasized before, but we have to emphasize again, is a major moral blow, a huge blow for the morale of the armed opposition groups, who were saying that Yabrud would be different from Qusay. It won't be easy for the Syrian army or for Hezbollah, but it was actually taken over more easily. I think which shows you as well, a very important point is that as the battles continue, the Syrian army, along with Hezbollah, are learning more things, learning from the mistakes. For example, mistakes committed in Qusay have been learned from, and hence were prevented or were not made here in this area of Qalamun, and that's what led to this success. So the more experiences, the more towns fall, the more the army, along with Hezbollah's assistance, are learning from mistakes and also adjusting tactics in order to more quickly seize control and to also lessen their losses as much as possible.
Okay, Ali, thanks a lot for that update. That was Ali Risk speaking to us live from Yabrud.